Alrighty, you know there's no DMR this week because of iLearn. We're giving your brains a break from the test, and also we did not have a class period to review the material on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so it's not going to be fair to test you. So no test for you today. And because of that, we can hop right into our expected lesson for the day, which is about our geometry. You will want to have your notebook quickly accessible to you. Remember, we took notes on 3D shapes. We added in a definition of face, edge, and vertice. This will come in handy to you today, okay? Please take a listen to our official goal for today. Here is what we are focusing on.
Today, we will start by focusing on some vocabulary like face, vertex and vertices, and edge. Then we will use that vocabulary to describe a shape, a 3D shape, and today we are also going to start identifying these types of 3D shapes. Today we will work on a sphere, a cone, and a cylinder.
Okay, so we're going to be looking at the differences between these shapes based on their faces, edges, and vertices. If you would please join me on this activity. It has been unlocked to you in your Seesaw Activities tab. It is, yes, William, that first shape did look like a wedge. Good catch. 3D shapes, vocabulary, day 2. Go ahead and add that response. Success criteria is what we just looked at together on slide 1. We're going to hop to slide 2. What are edges, faces, and vertices? Let's watch this for review, and then you're going to go into your breakout rooms and use your notebooks to tell your partners what an edge, face, and vertice is. Here's our review. Use your Seesaw, because I upload it, because I know that happens. Ooh, weird cough. Very weird cough.
Oh.
Cube has 6 faces, which are equal squares, 12 equal edges, and 8 vertices. This is the deconstruction of that shape. 12 edges. Remember, edges are where 2 faces meet. And 8 vertices, where 3 edges come together. A cuboid, also known as a rectangular prism, has 6 rectangular faces. There they are. It has 12 edges. And 8 vertices. Notice that the rectangular prism and the cube each had the same number of objects, but they still appeared very different. Our cuboid had rectangles and some squares. Our cube only had squares. Same numbers of points, William, vertices, not dots, but they still appeared differently, okay? Cylinder, 3 faces. 2 of them are flat while a third one is curved. That curved one is a rectangle that has been wrapped around a shape. The circles are the same size on the top and the bottom. And the flat surfaces make a curved edge, a circular edge. 2 edges. These shapes are weird. Cone. A cone has 2 faces. One is a circle. One of them is curved. It is that rounded triangular shape that has been wrapped around a circle.
Fractions. 2/4 fractions.
Yeah, boy. Looks like a fraction piece. Cone has 1 circular edge and 1 vertex.
Ah.
Oh.
And a sphere. Has neither any edges or vertices. It only has a curved surface, which we do not call a face, because you could not unwrap this and lay it flat.
Ah.
All right. You are going to hop into your breakout rooms, and I want you to tell your partner what we showed you on slide 2. What are edges, faces, and vertices? Okay, discuss with your partner. Be ready to share out your definition. Use your notebooks when we get back. Hey, you were asked with your breakout room to discuss the meaning of edge, vertice, and face. Remember, an edge is not, in fact, talking about your hairline, and a face is not, in fact, talking about the thing that you look at with your nose and your eyes and your lips in the mirror. We're talking about geometry. So, what is an edge? An edge, an edge, an edge, an edge, an edge. What is an edge? Who's got it for me? Let's hear it from Leah. What's an edge?
A edge is basically just a corner, but it's on shapes and other stuff.
You are describing a vertice. A vertice is a corner on a three-dimensional shape. So yes, that is a beautiful definition for the word vertice. A vertice is a corner on a shape. It is where three or more edges touch, the point at which they touch. Okay, let's come back to edge. What is an edge? Aiden G, what's an edge?
So an edge is basically a point on a shape.
That's a vertice. Y'all love vertices. The points, like here's a point and that's a vertice. Here's a point and that's a vertice. Here's a point and that's a vertice. Here's a point. Look, I'm going to highlight an edge. Ready? Look, here it goes. Edge. There's an edge. Here's another edge. Ready?
Listen.
There's an edge.
You gonna sweep this floor?
Here's another edge. There's an edge. All right. What is an edge? Terrence.
The side of or end of a shape on the corners.
Nice. The end or the sides between the corners, between the vertices. So this is a line segment. Edges are line segments on the edge of a shape. Okay, think about an edge, like if I were walking along this cuboid right here, and I was like, do, 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 and I went, ah! Okay, I'd fall off the edge. Just think about a mountain. You don't want to get close to the edge, right? Can I walk on the edge of that curb? Y'all like doing that, like a balance beam. It's an edge. It's the part you can fall off of. So it's where two faces meet. It's a line segment. Okay, so this right here. Do, 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 do. Ah! Y'all liked that, so I did it again. Okay, so edge, where two faces meet. All right, we've got edge, we've got vertice. What is a face? F-A-C-E, spells face, and that's me. Face. Camille, what is the face of a shape? There's a nice hint right here.
It's like the flat part.
Yes, it is the flat sides
It's
of
the
shapes. Yes, it is the face. Very good.
face.
The face are the flat sides of shapes, of three-dimensional shapes. Wonderful. Okay, we're warmed up. Let's hop to slide 3, please. We have 3 slides we're going to complete together. Shapes is what bring us together today. That's a Princess Bride reference. Y'all don't know nothing about that, and that's okay. All right, we are to take notes. Here's our notes. On a sphere, we've got a face, we've got a vertice, we've got an edge. Identify the edges in red, vertices in green, and number of faces in blue. Okay, so let's get this done. Edges are in red. Go ahead and cross them out because the sphere doesn't have any. Trick question. There's no edge, there's no line segment on a sphere where you could see two faces meeting. And that's because there's only one face on a sphere. And it's the big part that wraps around. Now, this is weird to think about, but let's pretend I had a dodgeball. If I were to stab that dodgeball and flatten it, let all the air out, I could then cut it. And I could cut it and open it up to lay it flat on the ground. Okay, yes, Levin, beautiful. Take a look at that. See that baseball? That baseball is a sphere. Do you see those stitches on the middle parts of the baseball where they're brought together? If I took those stitches apart, that leather on the outside would lay flat. It would not be wrapped around. So that would serve as the face. Thank you, Levin. Wonderful connection. Okay. We've got a face. And then our vertices are in green. Cross them out. There's no vertices on a sphere. There are no edges to meet to form a vertice, so we cannot have a vertice. William, a question. Thank you for raising your hand instead of just unmuting. What's up?
It's for the slide.
Oh, it's for the other slide. For this one?
Second slide. Second,
Okay.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you point an arrow at the sphere? You said these faces don't count.
I was showing a hint that it's making a goofy example for what a face is by putting a picture of a face on a face. There's a word for that when something repeats and it's, what is it? When it's... It is duplicated. Yes, the face has been duplicated onto a different kind of face, but there's a word for when you're being dramatic by repeating something twice. I'll think of it. I'll be laying in bed tonight at 10 o'clock and go, ah! And that's what it'll be. And then I'll send a parent square message to your parents. Just kidding. I won't do that. That's a terrible idea. Okay. Next one. Let's take a look, please, at our cylinder. For this one, I want to take a look at this video so you can see a cylinder unfolded. Here is an advertisement, I'm sure. Yep, there it is. And here is the video about cylinders.
Emily.
Today we are learning about the cylinder.
Okay, funny story. That clicking, that that's in the music, I thought something was like gonna blow up under me. So I rolled back and looked down because I thought my space heater was clicking or I thought my refrigerator was clicking and I didn't know what was happening. But it's just music. So there's a connection to our music emotions from this morning's social emotional learning that made me feel a certain way. Okay, here we go.
Look at the cylinder. And what do you see? Do you see a curved surface? Wrap your hand around it. Do you notice your hands curved like the cylinder? What about the top and the bottom? Are the surfaces flat or are they curved? Do you remember which kind of surface is called face? Correct, the flat surface. Here my second question. How many flat surfaces does a cylinder have? 2, and therefore a cylinder has 2 faces. Do you remember what is an edge? Correct. An edge is created when 2 faces meet. Now look at the cylinder. It has 2 faces. However, they are separated from each other. Therefore, cylinder has no edges. Let us review what is a vertex. A vertex is created when 2 or more edges meet. If we need at least 2 edges to make a vertex, and since cylinder doesn't have any edges, does that mean cylinders has no vertices? If your answer is yes, it does, then you are correct. Cylinder has no vertices.
All right, so let's take a look at Seesaw here. We see that we have faces. Now this will tell you that it has 3 faces, and that is because, again, imagine if you had a toilet paper roll and you cut that toilet paper roll with 1 line. You could lay it flat to create a rectangle. So if you lay it flat, it would have 3 faces, okay? We're going to identify the edges in red. Go ahead and grab your red. And by edges right here, I want us to write the word circular. That was in our first video as well. These are not standard or normal edges. They are circular edges, okay? Let's go ahead and trace those. So a cylinder does not have any regular edges, but it does have 2 circular edges. Yes, Terrence.
So again, the faces are
the bottom or wherever it is, the flat surface.
Yes, the top and the bottom would be the standard faces that we see because they are flat, okay? We do have a third face that we call a curved surface because it has been wrapped around that shape. So it's called a curved surface. But if we were to cut it apart, it would be a flat rectangle, okay? So our edges are done. Vertices in green, cross them out. Cylinders do not have vertices. A vertice is where three edges meet, and this shape only has two circular edges, so it can't have a vertice. And finally, our faces. We are going to identify those in blue. We have the bottom circle. We have the curved surface or the curved face wrapping around the circles, and that is a rectangle, just like if you take a piece of paper. Here's a rectangle. Here's a cylinder. Rectangle, cylinder. Rectangle, cylinder. So we don't call this a standard face, we call it a curved surface face because it has been curved, okay? And then we have our top circle, three of them. Any questions on that? Okay, let's take a look at the last slide we're going to work on together, which is slide 5. This says identify about the cone. Okay, we're going to take a look at the cone. Let's watch this. And again, remember, it's going to talk about the standard flat. We do have some curved surfaces that we count as curved faces.
Hello, Party Hat. Today, we are learning about the cone. Look at the cone. Do you see a curved surface? Wrap your hand around it and say, curved surface. Then flip it over and look at the flat surface on the bottom. Put the cone on your hand and say, flat surface. We just called the curved surface the curved surface, but we call the flat surface the face. Now, can you answer the question of how many faces does the cone have? Try it. Correct. One face only.
So again, we have one official face, but we also have a curved surface. We know that when we were to cut that curved surface, just like the rectangle on a cylinder, it creates a flat surface. So we're going to count that curved shape as part of the cone face.
Now, can you answer the question of how many faces does the cone have? Try it. Correct. One face only. Before we find out the number of edges a cone has, let's review on the definition of the edge. An edge is created when two flat surfaces meet. In other words, an edge is created when two faces meet. Now look at the cone again. How many faces do you see? Just one, not two or above, and therefore cone has no edges. Let us review what is a vertex. A vertex is created when two or more edges meet. Since the cone has no edges and therefore it has no vertice either.
All right, let's take a look at our seesaw and talk about what this means for us. So this says identify edges in red, vertices in green, and number of faces in blue, okay? We know that we are going to count our edges as circular. So I'm going to put a note here. This is a circular edge. That is not a normal edge. That is not a regular or standard edge, but it is still a part of the shape that has two faces meeting together. Our edge, circular edge, appears at the bottom of this cone. Yes, Levin.
I did not understand that video. She was stuttering a lot and she didn't say the words the right way.
She has an accent, so her pronunciation is different. And that's all. You can watch it again if you'd like to hear it more clearly. Okay. Alrighty, so we've got our edges. There is one circular edge. Vertices in green. We're going to call this vertice a point because a vertice is where three or more edges meet. We don't have three edges on this, so we actually call this a point. So I'm going to change my vertex to a point. This is a point. Bringing back that two-dimensional shape vocabulary. This is not an official vertex, but it is still a point. And finally, the number of faces in blue. We have one flat face. We have a second curved face or curved surface. And we know when we roll that out, it would create a flat rounded triangle, or as William connected earlier, a 1/4 circular piece. Okay. Your task today is going to be to describe these shapes by their name, the number of edges, vertices, and faces. You are also going to use your red, your green, and your blue coloring tools to identify those parts on the model. Finally, you will be finding pictures too of real-world examples of this shape. So if I wanted to find a real-world example of a sphere, I might go to Google Images and I might type in spheres. Ooh, if I could type, I'd spell it correctly, and go to my images. Ah, a bubble. I could take this picture and I could place it on my seesaw as an example of a sphere in the real world. Okay, so again, you're going to name and describe, color, and put down pictures of the real life shape. Okay, are there any questions about your task right now? Yes, Leah.
So I basically just did the same shapes. So we can just look at the top and go down and do the edges, vertices, and faces.
I have already given you half of these answers. Yep, there it is. There it is. Your job is to describe the numbers and to show me real world examples with your pictures. So yes, half of your work I have literally given you the answers to. It's just practicing applying them with memory. Good connection. Other questions? All right, friends, you are going to be able to hop off a little bit early. Remember that you are also going to be doing your success criteria by making a video describing your success with today's skills. And Remember, we are not going to say things like, I did this in second grade. We are not going to say things like, I worked really hard. We are not going to say things like, I took my time. We are going to talk about the vocabulary, okay? Use your vocabulary. Elijah, a question. Elijah, you're still on mute, baby. Go ahead and unmute.
How many faces does the cylinder have?
Here is the notes page right here.
I'm confused. Is it 2 or 3?
It is 2 flat faces and 1 curved surface. So 1 curved face, 2 flat faces.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? All right, friends. Have a great lunch. I will see you back at 2:20, everybody. 12:15 office hours. Miss Bram's poster for Elijah and Jalen is up. Bye, y'all.